Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Jeffrey Lyles, welcoming you to another edition of Lyles Figure Files. I'm not going to devote a lot of time on this show talking about the Rams taking that big loss against the Bills to kick off their season, their Super Bowl hangover season. That wouldn't be classy. And as you know on this channel, I'm all about keeping things classy. Instead, let's talk about the NBA, specifically Hasbro's starting lineup series. Now, for whatever reason, they're going with the NBA, even though we're at the start of the NFL season. We're all hyped up. Everybody thinks their team's going to win the Super Bowl. But we're going to go NBA with starting lineup. We know now, thanks to their Instagram feed, that Series 1 is going to consist of 8 figures. We don't know who they're going to be, but we know we're going to get a breakdown of those guys at PulseCon. And that's either going to be on the Friday, September 30th, or Saturday, October 1st. And I start kicking off my birthday month countdown. But I'm really excited they're going with 8 figures. There's way too many superstars in the NBA's history, even if you just focus on right now, the last few seasons, to do a 6-figure wave. It'd just be a slow trickle. Getting 8 is more aggressive and allows them to do more figures, even work in variants at a faster clip. So I really like that. I do know I have a lot of concerns, and reading the comments, you guys have concerns about this as well. A lot of it revolves around how much these figures are going to cost, how they're going to be distributed, and how are they going to select which characters to put in there, which figures, which stars to put in there. Focus on Marvel Legends and Star Wars, etc. So I'm saying characters. What stars are going to put in there? For me, I did this video a while back, how Hasbro could make their starting lineup succeed. And I truly feel like this is such a layup, slam dunk, whatever other basketball cliches you want to use, series, that it should be so easy for them to keep this thing going just on the NBA side for 10 plus years. Because you've got all those luminaries from the past. You've got superstars like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, Dominique Wilkins, Charles Barkley, etc., etc., etc. So many stars. And you've got so many contemporary stars. You know, Steph Curry figures, LeBron James figures. They're going to fly off the shelves. And not just because you've got that action figure collector, you've got sports fans who are going to be, oh, you've got something for us now. I don't care about Marvel. I don't care about wrestling. I don't care about superheroes. You've got a Steph Curry figure. You've got a Klay Thompson. I'm buying every version you put out. I think that approach should help Hasbro keep this thing going for a while, provided they don't get a little too greedy and make some bad decisions that cut the line out from under it right from the start. Quest Adams said, if Hasbro does this right, they can make a ton of money and keep the fans, customers happy. However, using recent history as a guide, I think Hasbro will get greedy and turn us off quick. I hate to sound pessimistic, but facts are facts. I think initially the line will do well, but if figures are too hard to get like G.I. Joe Classified, or too pricey like Marvel Legends, or they start with $300 HasLab stuff, then the line won't last long. It's all too much at once. And I think there is a lot of truth to that, because Hasbro has made some really bad decisions, specifically with their licensed properties. They're seeing the big dollar signs, and they're charging us way too much for figures. And I don't think a starting lineup series can have the luxury of collectors waiting them out until they're half off clearance prices. So I think they need to make sure they find the right price, the right distribution model, the right approach for selecting characters to put in each wave. So I have a few more things. Like I said, I did this video about how Hasbro can make this line work, but I have a few more things after I thought about it and read a lot of your comments. So let's break them down. First up is the price point. I know Hasbro is kind of teetering, leaning towards a $24.99, even $27.99 price point for Star Wars and Marvel Legends. But I think to really make this line work, to get that action figure who also happens to be really rabid about sports, but more importantly, get those sports collectors who get bobblehead figures or get Funko Pops that aren't so expensive, to get them into the line, I think $22.99 is the ideal price point, because that's past the $19.99 price point that we had before, but it's not as high as $24.99. And these should appeal to a wider audience than just our niche action figures, superheroes, wrestling, movies, properties that we love so much. So I think at $22.99, they can do a lot, sell a lot more to a wider market. And with sports fans, they're going to buy figures of the characters they like. So I think that's a good approach, good price point. Doesn't get too greedy, nothing too crazy. And then to make that justifiable, I mean, we complain about this all the time with Marvel Legends, but I really think the accessories are key here. And I've been struggling in terms of how to do this basketball a while ago, and I'm sorry I forgot to write down the name of whoever suggested this. Suggested putting magnets in their hands so they could just attach the ball, keep it in their palms, and do the thing. And I thought that was a great idea. I think that could make the cost a little bit more. If they did something like magnetic hands, I'd be okay with them bumping the price up to $24.99. We've seen other lines take a clip or put a hole in the hand with a peg in the ball. I mean, there's lots of different options, but I think magnets probably would be the smoothest way to do it. And eventually, of course, that magnet's going to run out of juice. But for now, I think that's the easiest way to do it so we can have a smooth look. There's no clip hanging on to the figure at any point, and we can just have them holding on to this ball. I think that's the easiest and best way to work. Or maybe they just do a swappable hand with a hole in it that attaches. You put a small peg into the ball, and there you go. You got it. So hopefully they can do something like that. But in addition to swappable hands, I really, really think this is an opportunity for swappable feet, specifically swappable sneakers, because these guys switch up stuff all the time. There's so many different things they put on. Armbands, headbands, wristbands, leg sleeves, you name it. And I think if they start packing this in, maybe it's soft goods, that would be a really nice way to add some value so you can add a little customization to your figure. So, hey, I like Kevin Durant to look like this. You could do that with him. And I think that would be really fun to do and have those options. So not everybody has to have the same looking figure of guys they like. So that's one thing that I think that they could also work on, making sure those accessories are really worthwhile and appeal to a wider fan base. And then I've mentioned this before, I think, maybe in just the comments, but I think one thing they really should do, especially if they're focusing on basketball to start, do a champions box set. Do your starting five of the team, so like the Warriors won last year, so you do a box set of their 5 starters, and then for your guys that you're going to have multiple figures of, Steph, Clay, Draymond, you could put them in alternate colors or matching ones with a chance. Maybe give them the t-shirt, the championship t-shirt, while the rest of the players are in their regular jerseys. I think that's something. But another thing that I thought would be really cool to do for a basketball line is to do coaches. And they're legendary figures. There's Pat Riley, Steve Kerr, Greg Popovich, Phil Jackson. There's so many. I mean, I feel like I'm blanking on all of the millions of great head coaches we've seen over the years. But I think if you added coaches and put them standalones or box sets, maybe like a Jordan and Phil Jackson or Kobe and Phil Jackson, that would be really cool, because then you could set up like give them a chair, have them sit down in there, and you could pad it out with other people as you wanted, just in random suits. But I think that would be really cool and really add to your basketball display, your diorama setup, having the coaches guiding them, going over a playbook, maybe having like a little whiteboard in their hand or something. But I think that would add so much to the basketball universe section of your display. And that's something that may not work as well with other ones like hockey and baseball and football. But basketball, you see the coach as much as you do the players. And I think that'd be really cool, because you could have your bench sitting there while you have your stars out there and everybody sitting next to the coach. I think that'd be really fun to do. There are lots of impressive coaches. Chuck Daly's another one that would be really fun to see in that setup. We put Larry Bird, even Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson during their coaching stints, Derek Fisher, Byron Scott, Jason Kidd. I mean, there's so many that you could do coach versions that I think that would be really fun. And then there's something I just keep toying with the idea of regional or state figures where, somebody in Texas may not care about the 7th player on the Washington Wizards squad, but people in DC and the DMV would want to have the whole team. Like, hey, I really want a George Mirzon figure, or I want a Cal Chaney figure. And other people are like, what? Who? Come on, man. I just want the No More Bullets version of Juwan Howard and Chris Webber. But I think there's some potential. Maybe that's an avenue where they do post exclusives, so you get your regional versions of characters that wouldn't get made any other way. Maybe like a smaller version of a crowdfund where it's like, hey, we're going to do 500 versions or 500. We're going to do a limited release of 500 figures of this guy. We're going to do 500 Dan Marley figures. And people in Phoenix area can get first dibs. And then everybody can get their Phoenix Suns or Miami Heat version of Thunder Dan. So that's something they could do as well. I don't know if that would ruffle too many feathers, but I think that's an opportunity to put them online as online exclusives. Just those figures that wouldn't necessarily fly off the shelves at retail. And finally, Chris Adam did have me thinking about this. And previously I was like, they could just have different parts of the parquet floor or courts. And you could build a court setup. But I actually think a HasLab basketball court could be something that would work really well. And it's something that should be a viable HasLab. You got your court, you make it really big. Like I said, you set up your table with your scoreboard, your timekeeper right there. Maybe put a couple refs in there as well. And then you've got your benches set up for the different teams on either side. That could really be fun. And you got your court. And for the court, I'm thinking you could swap the floors out on a HasLab presentation. So you could do a Boston Celtics deal where you have the parquet floor and you've got the logo set up. But something you could do for every team. Like the HasLab comes with the logo for every squad. So you could put that in the center of your court. And then the different names and all that stuff in different parts of your court. That's something that I think a HasLab would do really well. Of course, you've got your 2 hoops on either side. You could do I think a HasLab for this would be really fun. And then they could just have like a backdrop, like a rain court backdrop with crowds. So you can have your crowd there in the backdrop. And you have your whole basketball arena in one set. And that could be a $200, $300 HasLab. And I think it would work and would sell because people would go, I've got my basketball court and I've got my team and I can put their logo on there. I mean, I just think that's something that could really work in this kind of a format. So you've got that idea. You've got HasLab. I'm throwing out coaches, box sets for the champions, and you've got a $22.99 price point. Last thing, so we've got 8 figures in each wave. And I'm thinking maybe the best approach, 6 contemporaries, 2 legend guys. So for the first wave, let's just do whatever contemporary stars you want. But for my 2 legends, let's get Magic Johnson, Larry Bird right away. The 2 guys that saved the NBA, put them in there in the first wave. And you've got all those people who are like, oh man, Magic and Bird. Got that Lakers show on HBO, so it's drawing more attention to that famous rivalry. You put them out there. Wave 2, Isaiah Thomas, Michael Jordan. You've got another one. And you can do Shaq and Kobe for the third series. I mean, I feel like this wave, this series, this line should do really well. And Hasbro really just needs to be smart about it. Not get too greedy, not try to charge $25 for a figure just because that's the going rate. There's so many different factors that could contribute to this line succeeding and going on for a really long time. You just have to do it the smart way and not see too many dollar signs from the customers, but all the money that's coming in from all of us supporting this series. So let me know what you think. Do you think 8 figures is enough? What kind of rollout do you want to see of these guys? Do you want to see all the players on your team right away, or do you want to see like a slow trickle? Let me know what you think. I cannot wait for PulseCon because I want to see what figures they show up, what they look like, and I'm really excited to see how they implement the ball, the scale, because that's really important in this thing too. Can't have everybody being the same height. You need some serious scale discrepancy with each figure. Alright, so that's it for me on this one. Let me know what you think. Are you as hyped up about this NBA starting lineup Series 1 as I am? And are you waiting to see when they finally reveal some NFL players as well? Alright, that's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate all the comments, feedback. Y'all just let me know you're watching. It does matter a lot and I really appreciate it. This episode of Laos Figure Files has been filed.